Welcome back to my channel. My name's Lisa Jane, and if you are new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you are returning, thank you as always for your continued support. Today's video is going to finally be my mid-year check-in, book tag, whatever you want to call it. Basically I'm going to run through some statements, let you know my thoughts, and then we'll have a look at my reading goals and everything to do with my fable as well. So we've got a bit to get through, so without further ado we are just going to get on into the video. I do just want to apologise if I'm looking a bit hot and flushed. We are again in the middle of another heat wave in the UK, and we are just not prepared for these weathers. Our houses don't have aircon, so yeah, I do apologise, and if you can hear the fan on in the background, I'm really sorry, but I just can't turn that off right now because it'll be too hot. So we are going to get on with the book tag, and the first statement was the best book so far this year. So this is talking about books between January and the end of June, and I couldn't choose. I've had about, I want to say five-star reads between January and June, but the two that stick out to me and the ones I can't choose between are The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, you can see it just behind me down here, and The Bright Years by Sarah Damoff. Both of these books were outstanding pieces of work. They are nothing like I've read before, and were that little bit different, which maybe enhanced that experience for me. But yeah, really loved them. The Bright Years follows the Bright family, and it's told from 3 different perspectives. So it's told from Lillian's perspective, Ryan's perspective, and then their daughter Georgette's. It takes place across several decades, and it dives deep into, you know, things like grief, trauma, family secrets, all that kind of thing. But in saying that, despite these really heavy themes throughout the book, there are some happy moments in there as well, and it was just, yeah, it was truly just a wonderful book, but really emotional to read. The Correspondent, again 5 stars. This follows an old lady named Sybil Van Antwerp, and she is 73 when the book starts, and she's basically retired, and all her life she has wrote letters to different people. She is forced to reflect on her past, and we see different things going on in the book, and I'm being really cryptic here because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but we see different things in the book, and then obviously we have reveals towards the end. But yes, I can't recommend this one enough, so if you haven't read it, please do, because it's wonderful, and that's why it's got a spot right there. The next statement is best sequel you've read so far, and I would have to say it has to be book number 2, which is Wrath of the Dragons by Olivia Rose Darling. So the first book was Fear the Flames, and now I've got book 2 as well. I did read this on my Kindle, but this has recently been released, so I had to get it because I wanted it with the other one. And I gave both books really high ratings. I think they both had 4.75 rating. The book 2 leaves us on a cliffhanger, and it didn't have that second book or middle book, whatever you want to call it, syndrome. We had plenty of action all the way through this book as well. Fear the Flames was Olivia Rose Darling's, as far as I'm aware, her romantasy debut, and in the first book we are following a princess who is exiled called Elwyn Atara, and in the first book we see her wanting to seek revenge on her father and also free these bonded dragons that she bonded to when she was a baby or when she was born. And that's really where we start. And then obviously she meets this Caden Velis. He's the commander and he's like the enemy, but they work together in the first book and we sort of go from there. But it's brilliant. I probably don't do these books justice, but it was just right up my street. And like I say, book 1 was excellent and book 2 was also excellent. It just didn't feel like we were going over old stuff. We were moving forward with the story, which is really, really good. I also read The Thorn Queen recently, which is the sequel to The Rose Bargain, and I just wanted to give that book a quick mention because that is also a book that I've really enjoyed in the first half of this year. New releases that I haven't read yet that I've either bought physically or I've got on my Kindle. So we have Rights of the Starling, which is book 2 in the Shield of Sparrows series. We've got Furybound, which is book 2 in the Wolves of Ruin series, and I've recently read Diebound. I have recently bought a book called The One Day You Were My Husband by Rosie Walsh, and I'm looking forward to that one. We have Ballad of Fallen Dragons, which is book 2 to When the Moon Hatched, which is the Moonfall series. We have Yesteryear, can't wait to read that. And I think that has been picked by you for my August TBR, so we will see when we get to that point. I've got Dolly All the Time and The Assassin's Way on Kindle. I bought them books for like 99p each. We have Lightwielder, which is book 2 to, I can't think what the first one was called, Metal Slinger. So we've got that to read. I've also got Into the Blue, which is on Kindle, and that's by Emma Brody, I think. And that's been massive, which I haven't got round to yet. I've got Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. I've got So I Met This Guy by Alexandra Potter. I've not mentioned Alexandra on this channel before, but I absolutely love her 40-something, if you know what I mean. It's 40-something up. And I just, yeah, whether it's because I'm in my 40s, I don't know, but I truly, truly love them books. I've also got Bloodbound and This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me on Kindle. The most anticipated release for the second half of the year is, or has to be, Burn of the Everflame, which is book 4 in the Kindred's Curse saga. If I just sort of tilt you up a little bit, you'll see them right there. I've got books 1, 2 and 3 that my eldest bought me last year for, I can't think whether it was for Mother's Day, I think it was. He was really, really kind and bought me them. So it's been a long time waiting for that book, but we left off on such a cliffhanger in book 3 that I can't wait to see where we go. The biggest surprise this year was Nora Goes Off Script. Now, I've had this on my TBR for quite some time, and it was just one I wasn't reaching for or picking up. However, I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't get that 5-star feeling, but I did give it 4 stars because her writing style was just great, and I've since read another one of her books. I can't think what it was, and although I didn't like the plot line so much, Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Mulligan, although I didn't like the plot line, I loved her writing. It's quite addictive and fast paced to read. So yeah, really loved Nora Goes Off Script. That's the book we're talking about though. A book that made me cry, it's got to be, would I say they made me cry? I probably had tears in my eyes, and it's got to be the two that we mentioned before, and that is The Correspondent and The Bright Years. I would say The Bright Years probably had more of an effect on me than The Correspondent, but both were real emotional stories. Books that made me happy. These are the small town cheesy romances that just give you that feel good feeling, and that was In the Weeds, which is book 2 in the Love Light series by B.K. Borison. We have The Daisy Chain Flower Shop. These are not for everybody, but I love them. And that is book 6 in the Dream Harbour series by Laurie Gilmore. And we also have Clean Girl Spring, which is book 2 in the Magnolia Spring series by a lady called Willow Hurst. Like I say, nothing above and beyond, you know, but they were just really, really quick and easy, fun reads. I don't want to say mindless because I really enjoyed them, but yeah, you don't have to think too much. Books I would like to read by the end of the year. I would say just mainly all the new releases that we've just spoken about. And obviously I want to read The Winged Game, which I have recently purchased and you will have probably seen in my shorts. I want to read that like ASAP. So that is all for the book statements. I now want to go on to my Fable summary so that you can see where we are. And my reader summary so far says, Heartstring Tightrope. Your bookshelf balances heartwarming tales and gripping dramas. These stories inspire readers to appreciate the dramatic and heartwarming moments in our lives. And obviously I know which books have generated this kind of summary. So far, up to the end of June, I have read 33 books this year. My reading goal is 60, so we are on track for completing that. I have read 8. I don't know how it breaks it down on Fable, please let me know. I don't know whether it's a mix of the two, because it says I've read 18 romance, 12 fantasy, 6 young adult, 4 thrillers, 2 short stories, which is fine. But I'm just wondering, the fantasy and the romance, if you're reading like a romantasy book, does that class it as a romance book or a fantasy? Because I feel like I read more fantasy than romance. So if you know, please let me know. And then my average rating so far this year is 4.3, which is really high. So I've had some really good reads. And my most read authors this year are Annabelle Monaghan, B.K. Borison, Elsie Silver, Lauren Roberts and Olivia Rose Darling. Obviously, you know, the next half of the year things may change, but that is where we are up to now. Before I end this video, I just want to go over my reading goals and we can see whether we're still sort of thinking the same thing or whether they're actually not very applicable anymore. Goal number 1 was to read 60 books. Obviously, like I've just said, we are halfway through the year now and I've read 33, so we're in good stead. And also I don't want to up it or lessen it. I think it's probably just right for me. Goal number 2 was to read at least 20 minutes every day. I think I'm doing a good job of that. For me, reading isn't a chore. It is very much for my mental health. I find that just reading 20 to 30 minutes in the morning before work and an hour to 2 hours of an evening really fills my cup, and we all have to have something to get us through sometimes, because my job can be very stressful and reading has been just that way of relaxing for me. Goal number 3 was to read from 10 new authors this year. I have definitely probably smashed this one already. I might, and if I haven't, I'm very close to it. I am absolutely sure of that. Goal number 4 was to get up to date with or complete series started in 2024 and 2025. Now, let's have a little look at my series tracker. So I've got it here in front of me. And I can see that I've now completed the Chestnut Springs. So that was 1. And I completed the Rose Bargain duology. So that's 2. And then, is there any others? I got up to date with the Fear the Flames, which is the Olivia Rose Darling series. we got up to date with Dream Harbour by reading book 6 in that series. So we've got up to date with a couple, and we've finished a couple, or maybe one. I can't work it out now, I forgot already. I am hopeless at remembering things. But we are making progress on them, and obviously I'd love to make bigger progress if I can. I think at the minute we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, about 24 series that I'm in the middle of or started. I mean, some of them are up to date, so there's not a lot I can do in that instance, but there's definitely room for improvement. Let's go back to the goals page and continue with that. So, goal number 5 was to read my 12 picks for 2026. Now, as of right now, I have read 4 of the 12 books on the list. And to be honest, I think it is possible I could read them all, but I think Alchemized and The Kiss of Deception are the ones that are going to be the ones that are left, if any. But again, I could be talking a load of you know what, and I might not read any of them, but I'm hoping to get around to them. The ones I've got left, I will tell you, are Taming 7, Red Rising, Neverthorn, but I did soft DNF that, so whether I get round to that this year again, we will see. The Ordeals, The Kiss of Deception, Releasing 10, The Wolf King, and Alchemized. So I definitely would love to read The Wolf King in the winter. Taming 7 I'd like to read in August if I can. Red Rising, I'm not quite sure when's the best time to read that. Please let me know if you've got any ideas. The Ordeals I'm really, really excited about. I bought that a little while ago now, and I've not heard anybody talk about it. But I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's very much trials based. So yeah, can't wait for that one. And Releasing 10, obviously, if I can get round to Taming 7, then we can read Releasing 10. So that's my updates with them. Goal 6 was to complete at least 1 monthly TBR. We will see. We are now 6 months into the year and I haven't completed one yet. We might get 4 out of 6. I think that's probably the most I've ever completed. But, you know, it's just a bit of fun. Goal 7 was to buy less books and be more conscious. And although I think that is important, books are something I enjoy, and you know, I work hard, and if I want to buy a book, I'm going to buy a book. So I feel like my mentality has changed around that. Obviously I don't want books sitting on my shelves for years, and at this rate, because of the amount I have, that is a possibility, but that is my choice as an individual, and we all have our own ways, and we shouldn't be critical of other people. And I'm going to leave it there, because yeah, if you want to buy tons of books, feel free to do so. I'll back you. If you want to, you know, just have 2 books on your TBR, that's also fine. I think we should just respect each other's thoughts and opinions. Goal number 8, which I am actually probably not going to continue on this, and it's not because I don't want to lower it, it's just because I just don't want to put that pressure on myself, and it was to lower the current physical TBR. So when I started 2026, we had 194 books on it, and I was like, I'm not going over 200, I just can't. And as it is, we are now over 200, not by a lot, but we are over that barrier, and I've just given up. I just think I'll read them when I read them. I'm not putting that pressure on myself. So goal number 8 is sort of dismissed. We're not going to be looking at that anymore. Goal number 9 was to upload regularly to the YouTube channel, and I feel like I have been doing this quite consistently this year. I know I missed last week's upload, but I do try not to. It's just sometimes health and headaches with me is a huge thing, and I just can't do it. but hopefully over the summer I'm going to be able to do some batch videos ready for the autumn. My last goal is to, and you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I would love to gain at least 500 subscribers on here. I am so thankful to you who have already subscribed. I just wish I could reach a few more people, and I don't need to have thousands upon thousands. That would be lovely if I could, but I do like having them chats with you, and I feel like I can respond to everybody because it is a small community. But I would love to make it just that little bit bigger. So please do, if you're watching, consider liking and subscribing, because I am planning on lots more content. And yeah, they are my reading goals for this year, and pretty much all of them are staying, bar goal number 8, which I think I'm just gonna get rid of. If you've got to this part in the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate, like I say, each and every one of you. Let me know some of your favourite reads in the first half of the year, what surprises you've had, what books you're anticipating, because if I don't know about them and it's something I would like, I would love to know, because you can see I love books. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care everyone. Bye bye.